Reed, I got a question for you about IPM. What do you think the most overlooked aspect of IPM is for cannabis?
For cannabis. I mean, mold is a big part of cannabis because we're growing in these humid environments, because we're indoors, because we're dealing with, large varieties of cultivars and just people, and, the number one contamination source is us, right? And that comes down to bugs, to mold. And IPM is integrated pest management, but it's really a whole thing of, not just like the little creepy crawlies running around, all that stuff, but it's also molds and pathogens and viroids and things like that. So cleanliness is big time for us, right? We say we are part-time growers, full-time janitors, right? That's our number one slogan. We just like drive into our heads so we feel better about this, but we clean, we have a regimented cleaning system. So we're cleaning each room. Even if we're not in the room, we're cleaning it every other day at the very least.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And so we're always making sure surface sanitation is there. We wear scrubs, we wear facility shoes, hairnets, gloves. We try to do our best as protocols and understanding facility hygiene as a whole, right? And so we also take a lot of self-education and education of our employees. So like when you guys come out or when we have any information, any trainings, we share that with the whole staff so everybody is on board and understands how our cleaning works. And so, we use the V-liquid, but really we dominate with the gases. The gases really work well for us because we can use a sprayer or a foamer to coat our benches and our walls and everything else. And then we can put the gas in the room. That works better for us than the fogger does. Just on a particulate size, we've found better efficacy through the gas being cycled through our HVAC and all of the rest of our air, more homogeneous than the particles on a fogger would be.
Absolutely.
And so we use the gas, we use surface sanitation, and we really try to understand as much about the cleaning chemicals and the cleaning techniques as possible, right? Because it's not just what you apply, it's how you apply it.
Absolutely.
Right? Just like when we wash our hands, we make sure we wash our hands in a proper way. Yeah. We don't just like sing for 20 seconds. We make sure we cover all the different areas and everything else, right? So, there's all these different protocols, and education is the biggest form, right? With communication and education, the world would have a lot less problems.
Awesome, man.
So that's how we look at it like that.
Makes me think of two questions, man. First one's, you think about air quality.
Yeah.
How often do you think about it? What do you do to worry about it? How do tell me about what you do.
Absolutely. So, people say, oh, we have a clean grow rooms or we clean a lot and whatever, but else we have to, how do we know? How do we know what we just did? We spent hours and dozens of employees to do and money to get the chemicals and the tools. How do we know what we're doing is actually effective? Well, we can do a couple of things. One of the things that we do is air sample tests. We actually have an SOP. Every week we do about 5 to 6 air sample tests around the facility in a strategic format, right? We have a baseline for what all the rooms should be. We started with that, and we've started with risk assessment, and then we go throughout the facility and we monitor it. We do befores and afters. We do just general monitoring. We also compare it to what it is like outside or what is it in the ambient space around our cultivation.
That's important.
And so, we use that data that is provided and that comes back from the lab, and we can see all these different speciated lists of what is being found in our air sample tests. And then if we know that we have a hot spot or a problem area, we want to test before and after to make sure that is taken care of.
Yep.
Of course, filtration is a big thing too. Make sure you have proper filtration.
That helps. Yeah, I was just thinking about how often somebody might fail their state testing, or how heavy is the mold pressure. And I'm thinking that your air sample results definitely give you a sense of security that everything is going how it should. You know what I mean? Kind of using it as an indicator of facility health, if you will. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we call the whole program facility hygiene, right? Yeah. So facility hygiene is it's a subsector of our IPM area. So we have our IPM department, we have our IPM manager, And we also have our quality management system that comes in through compliance. There's like this like trifecta of organization and communication, documentation, and data. And we just really communicate and make sure that we're all on the same page, that we're following all of our standards that we have set for ourselves and what the state has set for us. The state has its own standards as far as testing goes.
Right.
You know, they don't require us to do air sampling testing or anything else like that. That's for our own benefit and our own security. But they do test our product for, you know, bacteria and mold pathogens.
Yeah.
And so by having those air sample tests, we can say generally this area is going to be relatively clean, you know, in the microbial perspective, right? We can never get sanitary. We don't really necessarily need to. We live somewhere between high-end food, biosecure or cleanliness to like low-level pharmaceutical cleanliness.
Totally agree.
Right?
And that's the indoor environment where you have to manage that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Compared to a greenhouse.
Yes.
And that other question was, which we brought it up too, was data collection, you know? So I can see how the air sampling results are kind of easy to refer to, but do you also use data in other ways? And how do you manage that data, you know?
I mean, yeah, we use data all over. I mean, not just in our track to trace system from, you know, on a perspective from the state for using metric and metric integration to, you know, track our plants from when we clone to when we populate these rooms, to when we harvest and sell product and everything
Cleaning
else.
schedules,
But we have
mold
cleaning
pressures.
schedules. We have, you know, we use in all of our cultivation methods, we have data even on how tall our plants are growing. So we track data even down to our substrate sensors that are in our media, so we can see and monitor our watering and our substrate. We can, you know, we manage our data through our environmental sensors as well. We also have good note-taking systems, and it all compiles into that quality management system that we have through our compliance. That's a big central hub for us for all this data to meet up. And then that is very specifically organized and regimented to follow a certain standard that we can, is very easy. So if the state does come in and they say, hey, we want to see your environmental data for the last 3 months. Here you go. Anything, cleanliness logs, filter change logs, equipment changes, maintenance, anything we do, we log it and we put it in that QMS, and that's how we keep track of and organize it. Because you can collect data, but if you don't use it or reference or organize it, it's just a huge mess.
You don't know how to use it,
It's just like numbers on the floor. It doesn't mean anything. So the next step is to interpret that data. And ProKure is really good because they sent us we use a lab service through ProKure and our air sampling tests, but then they send us the results and will highlight areas for us, provide solutions for us. And so working with you and the rest of the ProKure team is really great because I'm not a microbiologist and I'm not a chemist. You know, I grow plants. So, you know, utilizing other aspects of people that are smarter than myself will keep it, you know, really help us out because I don't have the time to go read, you know, textbooks on microbiology.